Boker Tov Rabotai. We're here on this beautiful Sunday morning. Parashat Ki Tavo. The Torah writes, Ve'aya Ki Tavo el Haaretz. It will be when you come to the land Asher Hashem Elokecha noten lecha. Right? Ve'yashavta ba, and you will dwell in it. Ve'lakachta mereshit kol peri ha'adama. You will take from the first fruit that comes out of the land, etc. You'll put it into a basket, and you will go to where? To Yerushalayim, to the Bet HaMikdash. And this is a mitzvah, it's called Bikurim. Bikurim means the first fruit that you take with you to Eretz Israel. How much food do I have to take as Bikurim? What is the minimum? Says the halacha, any amount you take is good enough. You can take one grape as Bikurim. Nobody will take one grape, but you were able to, right? These are the things that have no measurement. One of them is Bikurim. There's no measurement. You can take one grape if you want, one fig if you want, to the Bet HaMikdash. The question is, what is so substantial about this mitzvah of Bikurim? With your permission. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shehakol nihya b'dvaro. Amen. There are four reasons that it's brought down. There are many reasons, but these are the four brought in the Sefer, brought down to why we bring Bikurim. Number one, he says Bikurim are the first fruit. Number one, it's in order to curb a person's desire and to subdue his Yetzer Hara that's eager to eat food. Why? He says the person so many months was taking care of this fruit, and the first fruit's becoming ripe. What does he want? He wants to just pull it off the tree and to eat it. Says the Torah, you have this drive, this desire, you want to eat. Wait. What does that mean, wait? First fruit you're not going to eat. You need to curb the desire. You need to control the desire and not let it get the best of you. I remember when we were children, when I was younger, I planted tomatoes. Yes? Ani nisas rivali, yeli, what? They're just turning red. You would already pull them off the vine to see what it tastes like. Right? And then when you get used to it already, then you wait for them to fully become ripe. But the first one, who has time to wait for it to fully... So the Torah says you're eager. You want to eat it? Wait. Why? Remember to take it, meaning to subdue that drive, that desire. Number two, it's in order to distance a person from kefiyut tovah. Kefiyut Tova means to be Nachzi B'Badi, but differently we'll say it. To be a Kafui Tov means to unrecognize, not to recognize the good that somebody does for you. Shemida Ra'a Zo Meusa Umto'evet B'Hanei Elokim B'Adam. He says when you do something nice for a person and he doesn't acknowledge the kindness you did, it's a very disgusting, it's a very bad character, a very bad character trait, not to recognize the good. V'zeu, and this is the reason we bring Bikurim, to show Hakarat Tov, to recognize the good that we got in our life, that Hashem gave us this fruit that we take to the Bet HaMikdash. And so too we have to take perspective from the Bikurim. How much do our parents do for us? How much does Mama and Papa hustle for us? They work for us, etc. For who? For us. And what do we do? Sometimes Kafui Tov. It's not fair. If you're not going to give me ice cream, then you're going to give me pizza. It's not fair that we complain. It's called a Kafui Tov. You have to be very careful, says the Torah. Take the Bikurim to the Bet HaMikdash. Why? To say thank you. I acknowledge somebody gave me this. Thank you, Borei Olam. You take the first fruit to the Bet HaMikdash. That's number two. Number three, it's to teach a person that at the time of his success and at the time of his shefa, he needs to remember where he comes from. Sometimes we forget where we come from. Person 1 month has a successful month, starts to forget himself. Right away he goes to the Tesla dealership, starts to change up gear, change his wheels, change the tints and everything else, and he forgets where he comes from. He doesn't say hi to you in the street. He doesn't acknowledge you already. Why? You made a few cents. Says the Torah, hello. Take the Bikurim to the Bet HaMikdash and remember where you came from. How do we remember? We say, Arami Oved Avi. Vayagor Mitzrayim, etc. That what? That the Aramean Lavan tried to kill my father. who was my father. Yaakov Avinu, we remember all the hardship. How Yaakov came to Lavan's house with zero. And we remember our low points. Why? Person can never forget where he comes from. He has to remember when he came to the United States, he came with $117 in his pocket. Enough to buy you a few sandwiches. I don't know what. Right? What did you have already when you came here? Klum. Remember where you came from. Don't forget where you came from. Remember the hardship. And this is a problem with the young generation. They never experience the hardship. Shashliki, sushi, I don't know what, holy schnitzel, chotamisho, kaifi olam. What hardship do they have? Spoiled children, hasu shalom, swimming pool, other things. I can't say too much. But the point is, Rabutai, you have to remember the hardship, not to take anything for granted. Number 4, fourth reason for bikurim, lehashrish bilibenu, to put into our heart the highest level a person could get to is the level of anavash, humility. To be humble. When you bring bikurim, you become humble. Why? Because you know who has to bring bikurim? I have to bring bikurim. You have to bring bikurim. Even Agrippas the king, Даже Tsar Israel, the king of Israel, has to bring bikurim to the Bet HaMikdash. Even the king has to put his grapes on his back and take it to Jerusalem. Why? To show a person always remain humble. A person who doesn't remain humble, in Hashem's eyes, he's not worth so much. King David had a brother. David's brother was probably 6 feet 2. He was probably very handsome and very takoy. And yet, when the prophet Samuel came and said, "Is this the one?" Hashem says, "I don't like this guy." What did he do? Tzaddik, this guy. Comes to Shaharit min Harvit. I don't like him. Why? Ego. He's always angry. Always angry. Hashem doesn't like people with ego. The halakha in Shulchan Aruch says, you're not allowed to walk with koma zekufa. You're not allowed to walk like this on the street. You know, some guys, they gain 4 pounds in the gym and they start to walk like this. Yeah. You're not allowed to walk like this, like you all dead.
Yeah, but it's a body shape.
You're allowed to keep good posture, but sometimes the guy talk and then he walks like this. You know what I mean? Like I don't know what. You gotta, yeah, right, like this. People say, "Hi, how are you?" You know. So 4 reasons, Rabutai, 4 perspectives on bikurim. Let us remember them. Number 1 is to subdue the hunger, subdue the yetzer. Number 2 is to remove from oneself the lack of gratitude, to always be grateful, Rabutai. Number 3, that at the time of success, to remember where we came from. And number 4 is to be humble. The Torah writes, "V'lakachta mereshit kol priya adama." The Ramban says something so powerful, it's unbelievable. Says the Ramban, the kavanah of all of the mitzvot is for us to believe in Hashem and to thank Him that He created us. And this is the purpose of all of creation. We don't have any other reason to creation. Now listen to this. Listen to this line. Ve'en el elyon hafetz betachtonim. Hashem doesn't want to be in this world. Except, listen to this. Milevad sheyeda ha'adam. Except for the fact that a person will acknowledge on a saznayot that there is a creator. V'yodeh le'lokav shebera'o. And he's going to say thank you to Hashem who created him. One time Rabbi Victor Miller was on the street and he was talking to himself. His daughter says to him, "Papa, who are you talking to?" He said, "I'm talking to Hashem." "What are you saying?" "I'm thanking Him." "For what?" "For your husband." "But I got married 4 years ago." He says, "Yes, for the last 4 years I've been thanking Hashem that you got married." Unbelievable. For 4 years he's been thanking Hashem that I made a domoti koil, that I married, that my daughter married a good guy. To say thank you, not to take things for granted. It's an unbelievable thing. It's an unbelievable thing. Rabbi Eliyahu Dessler writes, Avodat Hashem benuya al yesod hakarat hatov. The main principle of service of Hashem is to acknowledge the good. You know, the Gemara says the difference between a good neighbor, not a good neighbor, a good guest and a bad guest. A good guest, you know what he says? "Wow, look at this synagogue. They put eggs and they put bagels and they put salt and pepper and pickles and I don't know what. And cream cheese." A whole story. That's a good guest. He makir tov, he acknowledges the good. A bad guest says, "Chani, la minya zdeli shtoli. Minya yes, minya netu siram no bezdeleli. Choy am dolshin. Agdesha pancakes." Agdeja kalbasik. Agdeja yani znayishto. So you have to know, am I considered a good guest or a bad guest? How do I behave? Do I acknowledge my mom's hard work on Shabbat, on Friday? Do I acknowledge my wife's hard work? Do I acknowledge my husband's hard work? Am I makir tov? Do I acknowledge the good that somebody does for me? We come home Friday night. Hi mom. Hi. Hazak Baruch. You come, you sit on the table. Bore peri palisos. You eat everything in 45 minutes. Your father says, let's sing a song. I don't want to sing a song. Leave me alone. Let's sing. Ki yesh mira Shabbat. No. I don't want. I want to go lay on the couch. Oh, what are you talking about? Your father had to go hustle. Oh, to this store and to that store. By the time you got all the shopping, by the time your mother cooked everything. For what? Just for you to bore palisos and to go upon your way. No, says the Torah. Acknowledge someone's effort. Acknowledge the good. Acknowledge someone's pain. Acknowledge someone else. That's the principle of the Torah. Says the Torah, if you don't acknowledge other people, eventually you're not going to acknowledge Hashem. The Gemara says,
nobody's going to acknowledge you as well.
That's true too.
Hashem repeats with.
That's true too. It says, En Baal Nes Makir Beniso. A person who miracle happens to him, he doesn't even know a miracle happened for him. You know how many miracles happen for us on a daily basis? We don't even realize it. We go about life, kaifuim, like nothing happened. Says the Gemara, you have to stop for a moment and recognize the many, many miracles that took place for you and in your life. Say our rabbis, the Stipler says, Meniata karata tovi midar ra'a umara meod. When a person, not a beoro, what is it called when you do something nice for somebody doesn't acknowledge the niceness? Niblaгадарни. How do you say that in Bukhari? No shkur. Well, yeah. No shkuri. Yeah. That's the problem of our generation, by the way. We do a lot of no shkuri. You go to the pizza store. You go to the pizza store and you complain. Not enough cheese. Too much cheese. Not enough sauce. Too much sauce. Not hot enough. Too hot, making me wait too long. We're always complaining. Says the Torah, stop with the complaints. Go kamoshna to complain. V'samachta b'chol hatov, says the Torah. Be happy in all the good. There's so much to be grateful for. Your kids, your grandkids, your family, your home, your health. So much to be grateful for. That you live in such a beautiful community. Chas v'shalom, not to make no shkuri. Don't focus on the black dots on the page. Focus on the white page. Focus on the beauty that HaKadosh Baruch Hu blessed us with. Why the Gemara wants to know? There was a king, his name was Chizkiyahu. Chizkiyahu was of the grandchildren of David HaMelech. He was supposed to be the Mashiach. Says the Gemara, we should have had Mashiach 2,000 years ago. Why didn't we have Mashiach? Because there was a king who went against Chizkiyahu. His name was Sancheriv. Sancheriv had a big army. He came to war against Chizkiyahu. And in the end, HaKadosh Baruch Hu made Kaddish al Israel and Sancheriv. Chizkiyahu at that moment, what should he have done? He should have sang to Hashem. When Papa says, Yosef, when Papa says sing, you better start singing. Because our whole reason to existence is singing. Angels, what do angels do in front of Hashem? Let me go. It's almost morning, says the angel. So what? I have to go sing. Who are you? Esav's angel. Even that angel sings. All the more so we, the Jewish people, have to sing. Mizmor Todah, Ashtei Yoshvei Beitecha. We have to sing.
Angels also complain.
No, they don't.
They complain about us.
They don't complain.
Why you gave the Torah?
They don't complain. The angels are angels of truth. And people of truth, you have to know, truth cannot stay in falsehood. You cannot imagine some Kharta Barta with a mohawk, tape up, shape up, tattoo comes into Bet Knesset and you tell him, Bechavot, Chazan. I would be like, hello, where is the Midah of Emet? He doesn't belong there. This is the guy you give the Hazanut to? Crazy? He's the guy of all people you're going to let be the Hazan. It's not for him. Same thing with the angels. When the Jewish people are behaving, so of course you give them the Torah. But when we don't behave, and we want all sorts of strishke, and our behaviors are not 100%, the angel says, hello, this is the people you give the Torah to? They don't deserve it. It's not for them, then they cannot be the representatives. You hear what's going on? Say the Gemara. You know, in the days of Chizkiyahu, Yosef, how many Gemarot did you learn so far? How many? No? Okay, we're going to pick on Nathaniel. How many Gemarot did you learn so far? 3 Gemaras. A page in this one, a page and a half in that one, and 2 pages in the next one, yes?
I guess so.
Okay, so you're at 5 pages. You have 2,706 pages left.
Okay, I'm done with it this year.
You promise, yes?
You'll get there, buddy.
We'll have to eat it.
No, Shalom. How many pages you got?
He said it.
11. All right. In the days of Chizkiyahu, any 6-year-old you found on the street, there was no Ameh. They knew everything. They knew Torah. Deep. 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds, 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds. They knew from Dan to Beersheba, the whole Israel, there were no people who didn't know Torah. That's why Hashem made miracles for them. And they were the generation who was supposed to bring Mashiach. There was one problem. You know the problem was? Their king Chizkiyahu made a mistake. He didn't sing. Maybe he had I can't say, but maybe the voice was raspy that day. I don't know what. He didn't sing to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Says the Gemara, because you didn't sing, you're not going to be Mashiach. And 2,000 years later, we're still in exile. Why? Because someone didn't sing. So when you're in synagogue and they're singing, Hallelujah, sing together with them. Why? Because you're Mekayem et HaOlam. Singing is a big power. Singing opens up all of your spiritual veins, your pores. You're able to connect deeper to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Stipler says, how the Stipler says, there's a story, we'll finish with this. The Stipler used to go to Petah Tikva to go visit an old man. Petah Tikva. They asked him, Rabbi, it takes you an hour and a half to get there, an hour and a half to get back. By the time you go visit this guy, it takes you 4 or 5 hours of time. Why do you go visit this guy in Petah Tikva? Says the Stipler. He says, when I was a young child in yeshiva, I didn't have fancy steak and sushi. I didn't have holy schnitzel. I didn't have Benny's Bravo pizza. He says, you know what? This guy used to wake me up in the middle of the night when I would fall asleep so I could get up to learn Torah. And more than that, sometimes he would feed me. I owe him a karat tov. 20, 50, 60 years later, I still remember the kindness he did for me. I don't forget the goodness he did for me. And so too, he used to go and visit him. Meaning he went to take care of a man who came to Eretz Israel every Erev Rosh Hashanah. And he used to tell him, Shana Tova. And they told him, Rabbi, you never waste a minute of life. Stipler would sleep every 2 days. He wouldn't sleep every night. When he went on a date with his wife, he fell asleep. Do we know what we're talking about? He's sitting on a date with his wife, he fell asleep. Because he was so tired. He said, listen, I'm going to get on the train right now. I'm going to sleep on the whole story. Comes on a date. He got married to the sister of the Chazon Ish. Giants of the last generation. On the date, he fell asleep. She said, no, lo bishvili, I'm not marrying him. In the end, they said, why are you sleeping? Sorry, I was up all night last night. I was learning Torah. Every moment was busy by him. Every moment was utilized for spiritual growth. And he would take the time out 4 or 5 hours to visit a guy who came to Israel. Why? Because he took care of me when I was younger. Do we understand? Those people who took care of us when we were younger, we have to remember them. That guy who gave us good business advice, don't forget about him. That guy who took care of you, don't forget about him. The guy who gave you a loan when you needed it, don't forget about him. Don't say, "Ktoti takoi." What did you do for me? If not you, I would have went to the next guy. No, he helped you. Always to remember, Rabbi Vadi used to say to his kids, this guy did kindness for me 30 years ago. This guy did kindness for me 50 years ago. To remember the good, never to complain. We have to stop complaining. The job, we have 2 weeks left before Rosh Hashanah, is to stop complaining, to come to Hashem and say, Papa, thank you. I appreciate you. Yajif, Yazdarov, I'm healthy, I'm happy, I have kids, I have everything. Thank you. Not daiti show and what is this and ba 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 ba. No complaints. Today, no complaints. Papa says no holy schnitzel, you're not going to complain. Papa says clean your room, no complaining. Papa says cook your own food, no complaining, right? It's not a day of complaining. It's only chudo b'shkur that I have a Papa and I'm so lucky. And when you acknowledge the good and you say thank you, you're going to see tremendous miracles in your life. Here at Son, we bring this lesson into practice. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen. Amen.